All right, so we are nearly finished. We're in the final stages of our report. We are nearly 200 pages into our report across the 12 standards. It will go to Frankfurt for final edits so that the commissioner can look at it, and then we will send it on. I've already been in contact with the accreditation team, and we hope to have them here with us in the fall for an on-site visit. So we're very excited. I think we're one of 4 schools this year going through accreditation. Building our CIA processes, curriculum, instruction, and assessment. So this year, these are some big rocks that we have finished that we are very proud of. Our curriculum review cycle, that is taking our teachers, looking at the curriculum, building their pacing guides or their maps so that they know what's going to be taught when, and looking at all those maps this year. Teachers are continuing to monitor and refine those maps. Unit plans, they have been given support this year to build unit plans, and we're reviewing those. They had to have 3 by May, and those were reviewed with feedback. And then our response to intervention data, we have that, and we have seen significant growth in that area, and that is for those kids that need targeted and intensive supports. So we're really proud of those efforts as well. Our assessment plan, we have focused the last few years on formative assessment, and that's those assessments that are given right or daily. We ask our teachers to do formative assessments daily and report that data. Typically, you think of what would be a summative assessment, and that's like at the end of a unit or at the end of a chapter. We want our teachers to know how kids are doing daily so that they can modify their instruction and supports for the next lesson. Maybe they didn't get to where they thought they were going to be, and they've got to stop and redo that lesson again. So that's why we think summative assessment is we get a lot of value for that time and investment in doing those daily assessments. We took a quick survey of how our teachers felt about assessments, and you'll see that about 7% said that they could use more guidance, but about 53% said they're pretty confident. This coming year, we'll be focusing more on the summative assessments and building assessments as part of the unit plans to make sure that they are assessing on the standards. So we're really keeping them on track, that we kind of don't stray a little bit, and we're staying very targeted to what we are required to teach, and we can better measure if our students are learning. Okay, the KSD Resource Library has been built this year by our curriculum coach, and some others have had input. And it is through Roll Call, which is our daily communication system. Our teachers can access that link, and there's lots of resources. So if you all ever want to look at that, let me know, and we'll get you in and let you see what all has been developed, supports for our teachers. And we've gotten feedback, they love it. Last time I reported, we were taking a team to CEASD National Conference in Salt Lake City. So we took Brittany Vall. She was there in the capacity of recruitment and retention. She is lead on that strategic goal. Stu Harper, Doug Brewer, who is our student life director, and me. So we got a lot of feedback that we brought a team of 4, and so many of the schools were impressed for such a small school that we took a large group, and some of the topics. We spent a lot of time talking about the Cogswell-Macy Act, and this is a hyperlink. I'll share this with you all. I encourage you to look at that. There's some states that are really supportive of that, and I think Commissioner Glass is aware of this act. I think Virginia, and I cannot recall the other state that are really taking a big lead on this. And so I would encourage you to look at that act if you've not looked at it before. The least restrictive environment, CASD has a white paper and a statement about least restrictive environment. And I have shared that with our Director of Special Ed, and our Director of Special Ed will be sharing that information at an upcoming statewide Directors of Special Ed conference. So we're very excited about that. And I also have a link to that document as well. A lot of talk about autism, restorative justice, student life programming. It was really good because sometimes, like, you're the only one on campus who is kind of doing a particular job, or you feel like you don't have any other supports around you. And it was really good for us to be able to be with other people who do the same jobs that we do. And I was able to introduce Doug to one of my colleagues that I was at Isola Bella with in my training a few years ago from Indiana. So they made a great connection, and I think we're going to kind of, the Association for Life, I'm not remembering the name of it right now. They have a training in Indiana this fall, so we're going to look at a way to try to get our student life staff to that training because of this conference. And then culturally relevant leadership. So it was a great conference. I think there was about maybe 500 there. So it was time well spent, and we look forward to the next one next year. Okay, budget. We have done a lot as part of our accreditation. We've done a deep dive, and one of them is finances, and you can kind of see more of that as part of our end of the year report and our final accreditation plan, which we will have available on our website. But the last few years, our budget has been about $500,000, and that's really, really low. I think when I got here about 5 years ago, one year was about 900,000+, 1 year was 1 million, and then 1 year was 1.1. But the last few years, because of personnel costs, we had to balance because we were given a specific amount, and after we budgeted everything for personnel, then whatever we had left is what we had to use. We've been fortunate to have the federal COVID dollars to help supplement those cuts. But one of the deep dives in Frankfurt has been a part of this accreditation plan in helping us get information. But this year, our budget is 1.5 million and some change, almost 1.6 million for our operating budget. So that's like 3 times. 300, who's the mathematicians in the room? 300% increase. So we are so fortunate that we've gotten this increase. Now, part of that is it's now in law that we have to have school resource officers. So out of that money, we will have to for school resource officers, but that's all good, and it's great. That is to cover all 3 shifts. Updates on hires. These are some of the names. The majority of them are in student life, but Ellen Fisher is in the cafeteria. Phoenicia Jones is our new assistant principal. She's official July 1, but she will be sometime in the middle of July. She was the elementary director in Fayette County Schools. So, and she was here in the past as an HSC. I think she worked with Ruth Sigler. We are very excited. And then the rest are the dorm except for Eddie Durr. Eddie is our new wood shop. He is from Trailblazers. He has worked with our students in the past at Mercer, and we're very excited to have him. We are close, we think, to a culinary person, and that's all I can say. We are interviewing this week for a math teacher and ASL specialist. We have one more position that we're possibly going to post, but that's not written yet. And that would be to focus on computer science and possibly some additional support in the elementary. One other change, our state school director has taken a new position at KDE. It's still within Greta's office, within Office of Special Education and Early Learning. So that position is open. We will be posting that position on CASD so it gets national exposure. And then also we have a listserv that will also go out on as well. And I'm thinking Peggy will be doing the same for School at the Blind, of the Blind. So, and let's see. These are just some pictures of school events. Yes.
Back up. The SRO they hired, I suggest we think about the ASL to practice as for communication, for signing.
Yes.
Because that can really help to reduce the misunderstandings. And, to let the state know that we need some cultural sensitivity for the deaf and hard of hearing. That will reduce potential conflicts. So that's a suggestion I have.
Thank you. And we're already on that. We'll be doing what's called a memorandum of agreement, an MOA. And part of that MOA is to do training around deaf culture, as well as one ASL would be one piece. And then the second piece is if whomever we get, if they've not been trained in the SRO, they'll go to the census perspective to get that training. So those are two pieces, so we're on the same way with the slide. These are just some of the events that we took our kids to Washington as part of an educational trip for juniors and seniors. Next year, juniors and seniors will get a selection of large cities across the United States, and they'll get to pick. They'll be doing Washington every other year, because all kids should visit the nation's capital. And then they will get to collectively pick where they go next year. We're hoping, not hoping, the plan is that middle school will get to do an in-state overnight trip, such as Louisville, to kind of experience being in a hotel, getting to stay all night, and then juniors and seniors in high school get to have, or get to take 2 large trips before they graduate. Education. This is a picture of actually our teacher who's here. of kids who had to develop their own lesson plans. They had to go by the state standards. And I think they will tell you that they did a phenomenal job. We worked with them for a long time. We are doing a project. What is the name of the camera thing? It's eluding me. Swivel. We bought the cameras for teachers to use in their classrooms as an observation tool. And when Kaylin and I were talking one day, I'm like, what about if you use that with your kids? So the kids put them together, they played with it, and the kids are evaluating themselves as students. But they were the teachers, and they were harder teachers on their students than I think. So it was a great experience, and one that we're very, very proud of. And out of those 3 students that did this, I do think one of them will be a future teacher. So we like to say we grow our own. Just a little thing happened in Gallaudet called the academic team. He went to nationals, and they brought home the sportsmanship award. But the coaches shared with me that KSD was the buzz because we were small. Like Texas has 2 academic teams. And here's our 3 kids. In fact, one of them is here with us in the audience tonight, Mr. Bentley White. And so we're very proud of them. And not only did they bring that home, we won against some other schools. We were selected to host the regional competition this coming year. So we are very proud of our coaches and even more proud of our students for the great work. Derby, field trips. We have a National Ag Teachers Association. Ag Teachers across the nation. This is their second time visit KSD. And our FFA, you can tell them, and the Blue Jackets, they did an amazing job of hosting and showcasing our campus. Any questions from me before I turn it over to Barbie and Rhonda for the 200th update? Not yet.
You said our school won first place. Who was second?
First place.
Yeah.
So first place was MSSD. I forgot. I think Texas was 4th or 5th. We didn't
So sorry.
first. We did get 4th place for the regional competition. Fremont. It's in California. That's in California. It's fire Congratulations. That was a wonderful experience. All right. Oh, hold on, just one thing. Okay. Events, sorry, I forgot about this part. That we've had graduation, the unveiling of our stained glass. If you've not seen that yet, let's make a point to go see it. It is 14 feet long, 3 feet tall, and it is stained glass. It depicts 200 years of KSD history. It is incredible. It's one of a kind, and it's all because of our students and their two coaches, Dr. Lee Allen Rohr and Alex Heckert. It is stunning, and nobody else in the whole world has one like it. The kids designed it, and the kids built it. We had, obviously, as I said, academic team. FLV was this year. I think we had, I'm going to be off on my numbers, but about 16 families. How much? 35 altogether. So, is it 75? Oh, 75? I think it's like 16 families, 75 people altogether. And then school, we're at about 30 kids this summer, and it's going really well. Mini Deaf Olympics, they'll be on campus earlier, but July 10th through the 16th. And then campus leadership retreat, and that will be all of our leadership on campus heading off of campus for retreat. And then this is our opening week school schedule. Okay.
And they'll discuss the 200 anniversary celebration. I guess. No, I'm good. I'm good. Okay, my name is Barbie Harris, and this is Rhonda Bodner. We are the co-chairs for the festivities for the 200th anniversary. So we roll up our sleeves and get ready to work. Starting in July of 2022 with MDO, that will be the opening festivities. Opening ceremonies, like the Olympics have the opening ceremonies where everyone marches in, you know, and we want to show how proud we are of the kids, you know, and allow them to march in to open the ceremonies for the 200th anniversary. It will be shown, I'm going to show you the website where you will be able to access information. It's www.ksd200yearold.com. And here are the different things, different pages you can access to get details on all the different events that are going on. Can we touch this? Can we click on this? Okay, like for example, you know, this is when you access the website, you can look around in here. And there's all different pages and pop-up videos and things. It's voiced and captioned and signed, so it's accessible to everyone. Then how do we go back here? Okay, and those are all the different events. So now I'm going to turn it over to Rhonda so she can explain these. July 29th is on a Friday night. There will be a social. Well, Friday afternoon, there's going to be a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and then there'll be a cornhole tournament. Saturday, there'll be another 3-on-3 tournament. I'm not good with that kind of thing, but that's going to be on Saturday. And then Saturday afternoon, it'll be open 9:30 to 3:30, and then we'll stop for a special banquet. Now we've had 15 people that have paid so far, but I've sent out the forms to a lot of different people. We're hoping to get around 100 people for that. Let me back up to MDO. We've registered 27 people. We've been calling parents, telling them about there's free scholarships. The deadline is this week for that. They can still come and volunteer to do things after that, but not for the scholarship purposes. So we've been working on that diligently. There's 37 students so far. That's going to be the 10th through the 16th. Okay. September the 2nd, we're going to discuss, some people we've already talked about doing the Jacobs Hall tours, the museum tours. We have to ask for principal's permission, but on Friday, September 2nd, from 2 to 7, we're hoping to have that open for tours. And there's a 5K run and walk in honor of Mr. Finke, and that's on October 22nd, but we haven't gotten all the information out on that yet. We're making the flyers and the pages for that, but we'll add that on. Okay, now Deaf Festival, KCDHH, they're responsible for, they've worked it out with Center College to have Deaf Festival there, and they're, working on all the details for that. And we're happy to be partnering that with the 200th anniversary of KSD this year. They're going to be selling vendor booths or tables, 9 to 5. Sometimes it goes on after that. There's how deaf people, they like to, there's a dance, a social, and they like to extend those things as long as possible. Okay, now October the 22nd is the 5K run walk. We have to discuss that with KAD because, we're planning to have, on October 13th, we're going to meet the high school students and hopefully have a social for them. But we have to get the principal's permission, and we're going to get with her and work on some of this. Some of these we don't have, completely finalized yet. I know some of the things will be sent out hopefully by Friday. And then I know the registration will be start September 14th. Who? Sorry.
Look over here.
Oh, Joanne Ham. Joanne Ham is working on that for me to get those printed and get raffle tickets printed. And when those arrive, we'll start advertising that more and get those out. And hopefully our committee will approve the core team to, staff and students involved in working on that. And hopefully the pancake breakfast will be a huge success again this year. The Gallaudet Claire Banquet is the 8th. But during that week leading up to, there's some discussion with the teachers, exposing the kids to like deaf history, deaf culture, getting them as much exposure as possible. We've done that in the past, invited, kids from Eastern Kentucky, Western, different public school kids, mainstream kids to come and help them be exposed, and they can, eat and enjoy that, but also be exposed to who Gallaudet and Claire were. The Kentucky chapter of GUAA, the Gallaudet University Alumni Association, they always contact to get different names and try to, they pick a student, and then, they keep on till they find ones that can come to that, and they'll have, alternates, if the first one can't, and then the second one, or that's for the presenters for that. The Christmas tour for the Jacobs Hall Museum, we're going to be advertising this fall. In August, after, no, you're fine. Etta, my sweet friend, yeah, not getting it. The Christmas tours for Jacobs Hall, we're going to start advertising in the fall, probably in August. We talked about that this morning, but we're wanting to make the flyers. I'll be happy to send those out. Well, actually, we'll add a link on here so people can access that as well. Sorry, I jumped ahead on that. Oh, they do it. The Christmas tea, you have to have reservations for that. I think it's $35 each. That will require reservations, and we have high hopes to order special food and have that catered, and have that really nice. Our committee's going to work on that during the annual picnic. We'll try to raise some money for that. I'm sorry. I'm not a computer person, excuse me, sorry. Okay, we're going to get with Toya and discuss having open tours for the museum to invite VIP, the VIPs plus the KSD students to be able to do the tour and look around in there and have all that explained to them, because it's their school. We're discussing it with the dorm staff, and it's just tentatively scheduled right now. We're trying to partner with them to get them in. Class reunion from the 40s to 2022. So your class would decide what day to show up during that. If you want to do just one of the days, or if you want to do both, you'd have each class would be responsible for making that decision. And then on Friday, I plan to have like a deaf panel, about maybe 10, a variety of ages. Like one person, I think she's 95, class of maybe 1946, class of 46, and then, another person from the 50s and this, 60s, 70s, maybe one from each decade or something, in different careers, variety of different lifestyles. So the students, the high school students would be able to pick their brains, ask them questions, about their time period when they were in school here, and how everything was so different, and they can get that exposure to the different time periods and ask questions about, how they went about getting jobs and different things they did. And then after that, we're going to open the time capsule that's out front. It's from 1988. 98, I'm sorry. And all the students who put things in there, they've already grown up and they're adults now, and we want, the kids to see the former students, that the things they put in there. So 1998. For the ones that are here, see if they can remember what they put in. I've asked a few of them, and they can't remember what they put in the time capsule. So we're going to open that and share stories and comments about what's in there. And then we're going to move those to the museum, and then do a new time capsule for the current students to put in there. And of course, those things won't be the same. What's it called? We're going to, not like a grave, but like with stone, like a marker. Yeah. And sometime in the future, they'll, we won't be alive for that probably, but any longer, but so they can open that in the future. And then on Saturday, we'll have the museum tours, of course, and we're still discussing the schedule, but at 5:30 in the evening, go to Lexington to the Hilton Hotel for a gala celebration. We're planning for that to be a big event. Make sure you watch on Facebook for that. My daughter and I have been, very involved and Jeff, in discussing that, and we're going to put that on Facebook and quite often to advertise that. And the flyers. Now, these are for people that don't have computer access, or if they want to buy tickets, and for that, we have the forms for people to fill out to send in manually. Then there's 4 choices of like dinners. There's like steak, chicken, there's different choices of like regular salad, or different salad. There's different desserts, like strawberry cheesecake and chocolate mousse, chocolate cake, and then you can fill out the form and mail it in with the cover charge for that. It's $125 for a ticket for that. Anytime you buy from between now and December 22nd, it will be $125 after that date. It's going to go up to $175. So if you want to get your tickets, the earlier you get those, the better. You'd be the early bird special. And they have you can do a payment plan, pay $25 a month on that.
So we haven't announced that yet. And we're going to be announcing that later through like video logs. And then we'll have a schedule and, we'll have a committee, and then they can all have their own job about what to do and who they're going to meet to talk to. So just be watching for that and who will be the special guests. So that's all. Oh, one more thing. I just want to add that the 17th will be the student parents will have their own banquet too. They'll have their own banquet too. That'll be on Monday night, and we'll be discussing that with Toya Roby later too. So that's my wish. So then May, we plan to discuss with Toya as well, but right now we're focusing on the 2022. But once we get past that, then after August, September, then we can start working on the 2023. And I don't want to get that mixed for right now, but we hope that May 26th or 29th, that we have a special graduation and we can ask for the seniors, the students, kind of what they want for a special presentation or a special guest speaker. West Jacobs, fifth generation deaf. So we're going to be discussing with them what they want, and then we'll have a special speaker. So hopefully we can get them both. And at the gala, so as far as what to wear is going to be black tie. And, tuxedos, and the women are going to be wearing dresses. It's going to be a formal. If you want to wear a pantsuit or something like that for women, it's fine. That wouldn't be, but we don't want shorts and short sleeve t-shirts. We want it to be a fancy thing. So we're going to be including the students in that too. We want the students to come over as well. And then Toya Roby is going to support the students coming over to be exposed to all of that and see all of that and be a part of the gala. And the students are going to be free. The KSDAB, the Alumni Association, is going to pay for that. So they said that they would take care of that. So that's all for that. And then next July, well, let's just maybe focus on that. 2023 can be later. And then we have the sports, the 28th. That will be Friday night. There'll be a social. And then Saturday, the 29th, will be like old times, like people can come and watch the homecoming like they did with the football, or they would watch football. And they might have like flag football. They can sit, chat, talk. And I think last time we had that was 2000? And I used to go in the 1990s and we'd watch the football game, see friends, and then in the evening we'd go and watch like the homecoming game, and then when all of that was done, they'd change clothes, have a special banquet, like a sports banquet, like, just a celebration. And that celebration, that event would be planned by Chris Miller, and he lives in Maryland, and he'd be planning that. So he's a deaf referee. So I don't know if you all know him. That he'd be planning and trying to get people to come. And he was a former player in California, I think in Arizona. He graduated from here from a long time ago, and I don't know if you remember, but he was a player. And you all were players too, weren't you also, Nancy? Yeah, so it's great for everybody to come, and there are a lot of players, cheerleaders, and so it should be a big event. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, that's our time, so that's what we're doing. Great job with planning. It's a lot, but we do it. So you guys are a good team. You're doing a great job. Nancy. Hold on, Nancy has a question. Did you already include that in like KSD, www.ksd 200 years point.com? That's the website. Yeah, we'll send out an email. We'll send out an email to everybody. There'll be a link. There'll be a link on the website so it's connected. You mean that it will be like the 200th anniversary and then you can click on that and then there'll be like a whole list of things that you can then click on as for other subsequent links. Yes, that's right. It should be at the top of the page when you first open it, Toya said it. And Scott said, okay. Yeah, we will send an email because we might make some changes and we'll send an email. And then Scott said, thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I am Caitlin. This is my sign name. I'm the middle school. Oh, my last name. I'm sorry. My name is Caitlin Buckley. I am the middle school English guru, I guess you would call me, but English teacher. So what we have been doing, I'm coming tonight to show you what the elementary and middle school writing data looks like for this year. Okay, I hope you can read this quote. It says, "The limits of my language are the limits of my world." So here we talk often about language deprivation and its deep, complicated impacts because it is a deep, complicated issue. When you think about language in and of itself and the impact that it has on everything, our identity, our behavior, our personality, our potential. And when a person has language, they have power. They, can work through things and do well in life. But if they are language deprived, they tend to struggle. They will struggle. So here we very often see children and students, young adults, who are language deprived. We have the responsibility to battle that every day. We provide special education. We provide general education curriculum. We have to do all of these things. So sometimes it becomes tough. It's a challenge to recognize that we need to make improvements and focusing on where the students are struggling and recognizing what our own challenges are, as well as celebrating our successes. So we want to recognize some of those successes right now for our students. You may not have heard of this before, but it's an assessment called the Kendall assessment. It's assigned in levels 1 through 8, and it uses different criteria. The students, in order to meet a satisfactory level, must meet different requirements for each. For example, if they have some of these requirements, they meet them some of them, but not all of them, then it drops them down a level. So that impacts our average scores here at KSD. The Kendall writing assessment was developed specifically for writers who
are deaf and hard of hearing. And it was developed in 1999, still being used today. Our goal, we actually had 3 of them. To briefly summarize previous writing assessment data, to present current data and its impacts, and then to share our expectations for future assessments. I'm going to give you a moment to look over this slide. So, I decided tonight not to summarize all of our data, but to just give you some highlights. So I looked at 5 semesters worth of documentation pre-COVID, and then looked at the students who were still here as juniors and seniors now, as compared with who is in middle school and elementary as well. The average level that we've seen here is a level 3. Several years straight, we've been a consistent level 3. We have noticed also some improvements, but in only about a third of our students. This year, myself and the elementary teachers provided or proctored the Kendall writing assessment twice, once in the fall and once this spring. In the fall, 34 students were assessed. We showed 20 students who had great improvement in their score. Some of them maintained the same score as before COVID, but we didn't. We noticed that some students during COVID lost some skills, but some did actually improve. The average level was a 3, like I said, and that is congruent with previous years. This recent spring, we assessed 33 students. 17 students showed improvement. Some maintained their same score from fall to spring, and then some improved in the spring again. Some have not yet shown improvement, but they're still in that growth stage. We did notice that our average level was a 3+. The official Kendall guide levels has doesn't really have half steps, but we here at KSD use the plus to show that most students are maybe borderline in their level. We may have missed just one requirement to meet the next level up, or maybe they would just barely missed it. So that tells us that we need to communicate with the teachers and may just need some little tweaks to get that student bumped up. If you look at this graph, it shows the fall data and how each group was divided up. This one is the light green, or those students who were new to KSD, which means either they haven't had the opportunity to be assessed yet because they're very young, or they have transferred from public schools. This year we had a lot of new students, which is great for us. This dark green shows students who made improvements in their score, and that was actually over half of our students for the first time in several years. They showed a lot of improvement. My brain runs a little bit differently than other people's. This is the same data as before, just shown a little bit differently. You can see all except for 2 students had some type of growth. Whether they had the same score, scored the same level, but they improved some scores, or maybe they really had some great growth in different areas. This again, this was for the spring semester recently. A few students were in KSD. This other green is about a 25%, maintained the same score from fall to spring, but they did not decrease in score, which is good. And then again, over half of the students assessed showed great growth for the second time. So especially having not seen that in several years, that was exciting. This seems to show a little more regression, but several of the students assessed, their scores may have decreased, but their storytelling, their details, their attempt at sentence structure, their grammar may not have been exactly perfect, but they were trying to add more details and they were more aware of what they were doing. Okay, again, this is just a little bit different way to process the information. I like to see things in a lot of different ways. I didn't want to show you the students' names, of course, so I've assigned numbers to each of the students assessed. I also included some of the high school students. So you'll see some of the gray, those are high school students. They don't actually take the Kendall this year. Because I'm not showing specific scores, there's some gaps. There are some COVID-related issues, so you'll see those. We didn't test during that COVID year. The color system is the orange means a little regression. The yellow means they maintained their score, and a green means an improvement. Anything before the dark blackout is pre-COVID. And then these last two columns were the assessments from this year. I hope you'll notice that the majority of these boxes are green compared with years prior to COVID. So we are seeing more and more growth, less regression, and less, honestly, stability of scores. So what has changed? What has changed that we've made such great improvements this year? We've had a few students over the last 2 or 3 years, only 12 new students to elementary and middle school. But this year we had 16, which is fabulous. This year we had a wonderful training for bilingual grammar curriculum, BGC. Elementary uses this a lot. Middle school and high school utilize it as well. But it's developed specifically for deaf and hard of hearing students, focusing on English and how English writing skills and sign language work simultaneously. We've done a writer's workshop, which includes just daily writings and practicing one-on-one conferencing with teachers and students, really honing in on the student-specific skills. We, of course, have gone through 2020 until just this recent year, we've done distance learning. Now that we're back here on campus, finally, we're back home. We're able to do one-on-one meetings with teachers and students to address issues, and they're back in their space. They're ready to do the work. They're in the right mindset just being back here on campus. And like I mentioned before, some students showed some regression on their score, but the components of their work improved in some way. They added more details, they added more description. Something did improve. The one thing I really want to emphasize is the level of progression and how it is scored. This is a description for a level 4. Most of our students are scoring about a 3+ because in order for students to meet a level 4, they have to use articles like a, and, the. They have to use those articles, but we don't use them in sign. You don't sign a dog went. No, we just don't use that. So for hearing children, they hear those used. They incorporate those naturally into their language because they hear them. For deaf and hard of hearing students who are not exposed to that as regularly, they may see them in a book or in a text they're reading, but also a, and the themselves don't have a meaning to native sign language users. They're just another word. So we have to really stress and emphasize the use of articles in the classroom. But like I said, in order to satisfy a particular level for Kendall, you have to meet all of the criteria. If they miss this one thing, they miss that level. Articles are under the state legislature, the state standard for first grade. So to put them on level with their hearing peers who have been hearing these articles for 6 or 7 years by the time they hit first grade, then they get here to KSD and they just start learning sign or really learning English. It takes them a while to really incorporate these articles. That's why we're showing that 3+, and they're not at that level 4 yet, and it's really almost always those articles that we're missing. Several students have shown some capabilities in levels 5, 6, and 7, but without articles, they're just kind of stuck on this level 3 and unable to move up. That is a main focus we're looking at right now. Our data, okay, so what do we do with it? Right now, we're communicating with teachers, we're providing reports, we're explaining what students' strengths are, what each student needs specifically. We're providing assistance for those things so that we can get them to progress. I have been talking with other teachers and planning based on student needs. We're developing new goals and seeing what works, what hasn't worked. We're collaborating with each other. We're really revising and revitalizing our teaching. Also, we prefer the word data. We are assessing students' progress every day. We're tracking their needs. We're not just assessing their grades, but we're looking at their social skills. We're looking at their schoolwork. Everything is impacted by language, and all of that impacts their writing. Next year, we are planning to include high school classifications and categories, just because historically here, elementary school uses the Kendall, middle school uses Kendall, and then high school just stops. They just don't. We want to see that how students are progressing after middle school long term. We want to compare the data. So the 3 departments, elementary, middle, and high school, are going to collaborate to see what is effective and what kind of changes need to be made. Also, we're really emphasizing celebrating progress. It starts with sharing it here. We're going to be sharing with family. We're going to be sharing, we're going to use family-friendly language, not all the academic data type stuff, but we really want to report back to family their students' successes and celebrate those so that it continues to be a more and more supportive environment for improvement. Any questions? Scott Hahn.
It looks very well designed, the information. I was a teacher in the middle school for many years, and it's interesting how an evaluation has evolved. And that's a really good way to assess language, deaf and hard of hearing children, starting in elementary all the way through high school. So that way you can track progress, improvement. So that's good data to have over the years. The state wants data, so that's good. That's a really good start to be tracking that. So great work. Thank you, thank you. Good job with that. Yeah, I love data. I love data. I'm a data person. I'm just curious, the black part, is that where with the language deprivation? So you'll see these columns here, these long columns here. One was the COVID time that we didn't provide the Kendall assessment. And because many, they were all at home. The kids were at home. And some came back, but some still stayed at home. And so it was really tough to kind of give them the support and to be able to measure their skills. And for some, like right up here, you'll see like number 28, for example. They hadn't been here at KSD. And the white means that they missed our testing day, darn it. And then like right here, number 38 rather, they were here, but they didn't have any previous data. So that was the first time that we had data on them. And so you can compare, but they did have a little bit of regression. But then COVID, they were staying home, so they didn't have a test. And so then they did here improve some. So what percentage of students have already have language deprivation? Honestly, I don't have a specific percent, but most of our students, even the ones who arrived here in kindergarten or in preschool, they still have gaps where they missed, and they still have those gaps. Yeah. So, yeah, the percentage just kind of us, like to measure, to observe. It's just a different time. But the percentage, when you see that percentage, then it helps you think, well, how can we improve and make changes, of course, going forward. But then, of course, when COVID happened, it made it really hard. So anyway, great job. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I was looking at that, just all the statistics and the data. And, you want to look at how the kids are developing. And I was wondering, with the language deprivation, is that part of their weaknesses? Is it in English or math? Is it in their sign language? So what can we do to look at that to help them improve in their weaknesses? Well, our students in school from the time they begin till they're seniors, they all need language support. They all do. And without that first language, ASL, for most, it can affect behavior, emotion. For example, I can't tell, you're frustrated, Or if you don't have a word for frustration, and you just feel frustration, then you just end up with a behavior. You know, you see that behavior because they can't communicate. And if they're working on like math, most of our students are good or successful with math. But then when we include word problems, like with numbers, it's straight. It's, you know, it's easier for them. But then when we add the language on top, you know, the students, when they have their maybe second or third language, or maybe they're coming from another country even, then, you know, they get stuck, and you have to figure out the area of a table, for example, and know the word table and figure it out, or like, you know, yard, or, you know, some kind of, I see the word like yard, that could have a different meaning. Yard means a lot of things. And we have to teach that. We have to teach that through our sign language, the bilingual teaching, so that, you know, and our staff can be skilled at teaching. So, and if we don't know the signs, then we have to back up. We can vocabulary and also add the content. And then the more complex issues that just build on each other, which of course impacts everything. All the colors and the levels too. I'm wondering if you ever did like a simple, like kind of like colored graph. Like if you're like, see this? To work, we're going to pull you up so that you can build this up, you know, and we want to celebrate what you've done, and the kids themselves can see that, and they see what they've done, and then themselves can work hard, can see what they're doing, and that might help them with the concept of improving.
That's a great idea. I'll put that in the back of my head and save it for next year. There's myself and another teacher. We've been using the feedback from the scores and the Kendall assessment. We're trying to use the positivity and and then see what our next steps are for, like for me, it's for middle school. And I do one-on-one conferencing after we get those scores, and I showed them that how they were doing previously based on how they're doing now, and what we need to do. I showed compare the tests, the fall and the spring, and visually showed the students. For example, one student, I wish I had it with me, but one student in the fall had 3 pictures. No description, nothing with that. Just the 3, like a cat, an alligator, and there was one more. Just a picture. And then later in the spring, had 4 or 5 sentences. Was it perfect? No, but it was. You know, and did they advance to the next level? No, but they did improve, and were able to identify objects, the subject and the verb, and we did that with, you know, color-coded for different students. So thank you for sharing that, and I'll make sure we include that for the students. Last question. Do you include ESL, English as a second language, for just, I don't want to have a big discussion about it, but just for argument's sake, like the children here, like their primary language is ASL. But, you know, in their home, put them in their home environment, they're not using ASL as their first language. Or, they may come from English or Spanish, or it's interesting to try to convince the people out there that, teaching through the bilingual approach, like signing it to them, writing it out in English, they're learning to switch back and forth. But ESL requires to report. Do we report that every year? That's why we're trying to add the ASL specialist here. The thing to consider is the SLPI, the level that the students are at there and the level of their, and comparing their English from that. Actually, one of the staff who used to work in the interpreting office now is a teacher, Kimmy. They would use the Kendall, she would use the Kendall assessment and compare it to the SLPI. And like if the students had a lower Slippy score, then their Kendall score tended to be low too. Okay, thank you for your presentation. Thank you. Now we're going to have a campus update from Rick Westerfield.
Well, I tell y'all what, following that's good stuff. Okay, I thought I was loud enough without it. It's really nice to follow a young lady like that. As an old man, I guess as the years go by, we get tired. It was really exciting to see this young lady get up and show us how much she cares about the kids and how much she cares about teaching. That was really refreshing. Kudos to you, young lady. I had planned on talking about an hour and a half, but I see that Rhonda and Barbie need to get to work, so I'm going to make mine a little shorter, all right? I'm going to just kind of update everybody on where we stand as I will say this, I don't know if any of you folks were involved with prom, but prom was held in the art room this year in Alex Heckard's classroom, and it's absolutely beautiful. A gentleman came in, actually it's the same gentleman that did the gymnasium, that done the floor over there. He done that room also, and he done a magnificent job of restoring the original. It turned out just beautiful. We're very, very proud of what he did. Kudos to him, excellent job. One of the biggest things that most of you probably haven't seen for Miss Webb's classroom, she's got a complete room do-over. The renovation was the entire room. She's got all new cabinets. She's got all new furniture. A lot of it was updated that will help the kids as far as visually. I've learned a lot, y'all. I've learned a lot through this restoration about things. I thought we just had a school of deaf children, and I didn't realize there were so many other things that was involved. And little things like the border going around the bottom of the cabinet being the wrong color, the depth perception for the children. We had to change some things. So it's been a really good learning experience. But I think most of you all know Walter Hewlett. He's over capital projects. I spoke with him yesterday. We're within probably a week and a half of doing our final punch out, which is our final look at and making sure everything's the way it should be. Hated that it's taken so long, but COVID got us on that one pretty bad. While I'm standing up here yapping like a chihuahua, our kids are over playing in the new pool that's we had a gentleman, I'm really we had a gentleman, we got to keep it local. Gentleman came in and done just a beautiful job on the pool. Observation windows that were underneath, they're gone. We did have those, so everybody. He came in putting numerous coats of what I'll call a and painted. When you go over to look at the beautiful art that the kids done, Toya was talking about earlier, sneak a peek at the pool. You'll be proud. You'll be really proud. It looks great. We do have a roofing project that's fixing to start with Thomas Gym. The Thomas Gym, Bow Hall, and here in Kerr are part of one project that's going to include all three buildings, okay? First of which is the long-needed air conditioning in the gymnasium. We've been very fortunate that it's working out, that we're going to be able to move that. There's going to be a little more renovation as far as back in the pool area. The pool area will not be air conditioned, but Ms. Roby and I had some discussion about things that possibly happen later on with that. It's going to be real beautiful, but to get some more ventilation, or play, I guess, for kids to be able to move around and do different things. But they are talking about some new lighting overhead that will, again, make the pool just stand out just magnificently. So we've got a lot going on there. Jacobs Hall, the new boiler is completed. It's in. It's running. Knock on wood, it's doing a great job. For those of you that maybe aren't aware, the big building over that had those just huge boilers, it's no longer in use. We've shut it down. We officially turned the water off. Notice saving. I already ahead of myself there a little bit about air conditioning at the heat and air. We have a young man with us, Andrew Harrigan. I think he spoke at another one of y'all's meetings. He has jumped aboard and really done a great job. He's worked with a lot of people. Miss Roby has, and everybody that's been involved with it. They put a lot of hard work into keeping our kids safe. We've got more coming, but the last that I think I'm correct here, we've got about 280 cameras that are. I know Towns I didn't realize, but when you start looking at the buildings that we have in our area, enough on our campus and children traveling and forward, there's so many areas that we've got to make sure that our children are protected, and it's magnificent. Yeah. That we were talking about that was up a little, you know, ever since I've heard people make the comments, well, how come we don't have a police officer? How come we don't have a security officer? No, 100% agree. We need that person. But, I found stealing going on here on campus, things that were taken from buildings and so forth. And, even when you have that one officer, the whole campus. When you start talking, well, we spent almost $1 million on a camera system. When you've got one taken, $1 million is nothing. That's what we're here for, to make them safe. This one here is kind of near and dear to my heart. I'm going to. I guys noticed when you pulled in tonight that our building, our shed, completed. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was very, very happy a month ago. And none of us actually knew what it was going to be. And one more was clear. And I looked at it and I was like, oh no, no, that looks awful. This on the sides now got the green on the eaves, a clear panel. And let me give you a look.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, I did see that though.
Let me tell you, it stood out, right? That I want y'all to understand, this is not a maintenance building. It's considered, okay? Now, the big difference, I made the mistake in front of one of the building. If we had built a building, we had to have water, electricity. So I was told, it's not a building, it's a shed, okay? One of the things I'm a little very near future, Mr. Hewlett and I have already had discussions. I haven't had Ms. Roby and discuss this yet, but we'll do a little bit of that. There's some really simple, not cheap, allow us to have lights and electricity. About that one. Like I say, this one's a little near and dear. We're going to be, the guys are going to be able to pull and keep them protected. It's bothered me for a long time. Our tractor, we haven't had a place to get it inside. It wasn't. So we're going to get that tractor inside and get it protected. That's just like to me. But anyway, I'll move on. I did talk that we have just I don't know how familiar you guys are with Kirby Stafford. That is an art designer that does huge murals. If any of you have been to Cindy in Junction City, Kirby done that brick on the building. He's absolutely great. I'm in the process of getting Kirby to come over, and we're at Colonel and 8 foot tall kernels down the side of that in the green to match, and then established shade on there. So I think when these other schools pull in on our campus, that looks very nice, and now they're going to look at the side of that building and go, hey, this is kernel property, you know? So I think it's going to give us something to be proud of. When people drive in on campus, I think they're going to like the look. So we're into quite a bit of paving that's going to be happening here in the very near future. I'll start with Jacobs Hall. Jacobs Hall is going to, the entire parking lot over there is going to be blacktop, re-blacktopped. The by here at night, but this campus is just so lit up. It just looks so nice. What it has also done is also made Lee Hall kind of look like a sore thumb. A lot of mornings when it was dark and I would come in and I would stop at the four-way, I just kept looking over at Lee Hall. And I know it's near and dear. So we all got together and we got to doing some talking, and it wasn't really hard to do, but we've convinced Frankfurt to allow us to go ahead and we're going to do a Lee Hall project where the whole front of anything wood, anything white, the columns, the doors, all of that's going to be repainted here in the next, probably starting first week of July. So what that's going to do, I think that's going to give that Second Street the beautiful look. When people drive by, I'm going to brag on my guys just a minute. I said I wasn't going to talk this long, and I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rattling on. But I'm proud of my team. I'm very fortunate that I've got a great bunch of guys that care about this campus. Matthew Desarn, I don't know how many of y'all know Matthew, but Matthew stands out. This young man, he came to me one day and he said, you know, our grass would look a lot better if we striped it. And I said, go for it. It's yours. I call him our grass guru. But the young man started doing it. He's taught the other guys to do it. And when I drive by on 2nd Street and look over now, it makes me proud. No, I'm not deaf, but I am proud of this campus. And those guys show me every single day how proud they are of this campus. They're like this young lady right here. She's proud of her teaching. They're proud of their campus. So I'm just really happy that I get to work with guys like that. But the beautification that they do daily, that they're not even asked to do, is just unreal. I'm getting off subject, and I apologize. But we are going to, Lee Hall is going to get painted. Hopefully in the future, I've heard some plans talked about what could happen with it that I think you guys would love. But anyway. A study, yeah.
There is $1 million set aside to do a study on.
They're going to do a study of Lee Hall. $1 million has been set aside in the budget to what parts of the building can be restored, and what parts of the building need to be demolished, and where the remaining money can be used for those improvements. But the study is to determine if, they can move forward with restoring the building.
I don't mean to be ridiculous with talking about this kind of stuff, but teaching's her side. This is my side. I love it. And I'm just proud of the guys. Okay, Jacobs Hall is going to get a new parking lot. I've talked about the concrete that we're going to get and so forth. Not only are we going to blacktop the parking lot, it's going to look a little different. We're going to move down some, open up a little more parking, so that we're going to be able to put some more handicap spots, so that I'm sorry, but I think like an old man, because I am an old man. I'm thinking, well, I might need one of those spots pretty soon. So we're going to try to add about 3 more of those and a little more parking closer to the building. Something that we because the lighting ain't up over there, but I don't know if you guys have noticed. Have you guys noticed all the flowers that's on our posts? Aren't they beautiful? Kudos to Sandy Smock. Sandy and her kids, they worked really hard and done a beautiful job. I was trying to think of that little girl's name, Logan. One of our new folks that's here on campus with us. She jumped in and took the ball and run with it. She developed those flags that we had, the banners, flags that we have up. So we have flower flag, And just last week, the guys got the rest of them up down across where the kids would walk across campus. And probably by the end of this week, we're going to have flowers up all the way across over in front of Grow. So beautification here is really getting to be top notch. I noticed this when I drove in a while ago, how pretty the KSD looked over at the gym. That just blows my mind that it can look that good. But we're going to blacktop the parking lot. We're going to blacktop the driveway all the way out to the road. I don't know if y'all noticed down here at below Brady at that parking lot, the city came in and we got them to fix our little pull-out down there. We actually had staff that was pulling out and their cars were hitting the ground. So they were very nice. They came in, they took care of that for us. But we're going to do that coming out of Jacobs Hall also. Now, when you come straight on across the street, they're going to fix the entrance and the exit in front of Argo. Argo, the whole front parking lot's fixing to be new blacktop. We're going to have that blacktopped and striped. And then there's going to be new blacktop that's going to go straight through campus. It'll go down beside of Argo and around behind Argo and then to the left and go down in front of Fosdick all the way down to the stop sign. So what that's going to do, we're going to be able to widen that up just a little bit down at the stop sign down there so that 2 cars can get up through there with that. Right now, it's kind of dangerous. Now, once we get all this blacktopping done, we've also got plans of doing all new striping for our crosswalks, and we have a plan of adding some new crosswalks coming over to across from the dorms to come across to go directly into the gym. We've got a bad spot right there. Safety number 1, and hopefully where the kids cross over there continuously going to lunch and back, we're going to be able to make that a lot more visible. Our guys have quit. Well, right now they are, but kind of the summer thing, but we've stopped parking there basically so that we can leave that open because we all know that our kids are going to be crossing there, but you know, we have people that drive through campus that don't know anything about KSD. They're just riding through and they don't, you know, they're not cautious of our children. So we want to make it as safe as we possibly can.
One thing is we have a vendor for fence. We're going to start phase one. We're going to start phase one for installation, and that's going to be on 2nd Street. We're working on getting bids right now for our entrance at Argo. It'll be our primary, I guess what we call our fancy entrance that will have stone columns and a large metal gate or fancy gate that will be electronic entrance. So that will kind of be our new hallmark and I guess our 200th anniversary gift back to campus. We also will be installing an electric gate on what we call the farm road, being the road that goes to the back of elementary. And then our last electric gate will be, we're still talking about where it would be, and that would be the one coming down Clare Street. So our first two primary gates will be at Argo and the farm road. And then the fence that will be starting at the edge of our property down on 2nd Street, that white fence that's now there at the farm, that will be taken up and replaced with what we talked about before. And we did not go with aluminum. We went with steel, heavy black, decorative that like you would see in a subdivision, but tall enough that you can't climb it. But it will not look like a prison fence. It's decorative and it's pretty as a fence could be. But I mean, it'll look nice. So that'll be going all the way down 2nd Street and coming around the corner at Lee. So we're very excited about that. And then the way that arrangement is, it'll kind of cut in behind the lower Brady parking lot so that we don't have to have gates on that parking lot. So it'll come in behind that. And then so anybody walking down 2nd Street will not be able to cut through campus. And then Argo will be our primary entrance for like deliveries or everything like that. And we'll be moving Brady, instead of Brady's kind of as our main building right now, Argo will become our main building because visitors will be able to be at the front of campus but not have access to campus because of the gates. So like Rick said, we've had incidences of cars speeding through here at a high rate of speed just to cut traffic or just because they want to. And that's not acceptable. And as he said, safety's number one on our campus. So we're very excited about that.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
All right. I promise I'm going to shut up after this one. I saved the best for last. This one's the one that's got me the most excited. I said there was going to be 3 buildings involved in the project. Thomas Gym is getting the AC. One of which, the second one is the one that I think is going to be the most beautiful on this campus. This beautiful roof that we have on Marshall Hall, our new elementary school. In the very near future, Grow Hall is going to have a matching roof. It's going to be that copper color, and it's going to be metal. They're going to prefabricate it so it'll have the bend in it, like it'll look just like now, but it's going to be a copper color, like to match Marshall. So that one really tickled me because one of the very, very first things I noticed other than the museum when I walked on this campus was Grow Hall, because the inside of that building is gorgeous, and I think this is just going to make it pop. Now, the last thing, and I think this is going to be magnificent also, they're going to take out the skylights that's up here in the front as you walk in here in Kerr. We've had I know that people have questioned me, why don't you fix that? We've got a hole up there that's been there ever since I've been here. And why don't you fix it? Why don't you fix it? Well, we're fixing it's kind of money not very well spent to fix that, spend a couple of grand on it, and then come in here and tear all that out. So what it's eventually going to do, I've seen a picture of it. I haven't seen it in person, but they're going to mimic, with new lighting, they're going to mimic a drop-in as if it still had those skylights in there. And y'all, it's going to be so pretty. It's going to be a drop-down that will stand out, and they're going to be able to have, it's going to look so much brighter. And I think it looks kind of gloom up there when you walk in. We want people to walk into here and go, wow, man, this place is too cool. So that's what we're shooting for. And I'm done. I'm sorry.
Oh, Rick?
I do.
You said how the skylight was gonna be removed, and that they would put the roof over the top of that?
Yes, sir.
I'm deaf, but it makes a lot of noise, so sometimes I'll be like, what is that noise? I didn't realize how noisy it was when there's wind. I
Yes.
didn't realize that.
I was in my office one day, and the wind got to blowing in, and I was trying to find where it was coming from, and it was coming from up there. And I know the guys have tried to seal it numerous times, and they've worked and worked and worked on it. So I think you guys are going to be very, very proud of these things that's happening.
Imagine if there's like a strong storm or something, it could just suck it right off of there.
But yes, but thank you for sharing that information and that whole list. Keep up the good work. It's great.
I've been very fortunate. I have a lot of good people helping me. Yes, sir.
What are you gonna do with the corner of Lee Hall?
The corner of Lee Hall.
The question was, what are you going to do with the corner of Lee Hall?
You know the corner? Is that gonna have a fence? No landscape?
Well,
You stop there, you see the corner.
You'll see a list of things that are going to happen. It's just kind of proprietary right now.
there's a lot of things being talked about, but nothing's been finalized. Well, there's a lot of really good ideas floating around, and I could tell you 10 or 12 of them, but I don't know which one might happen. So in the very near future, hopefully we'll be able to share more.
Toya's saying, from the study, the list of things on there is going to be on there. Nancy said, okay, on 2nd Street, the paving, the old bricks that are there, I'm wondering if the old brick, if we're going to be able to pull those out, fix the sidewalk, and then replace the old bricks back where they were so that we can preserve them.
I'm so glad I left out something. I'm glad you brought that up. In front of Jacobs Hall, I know you guys know that the sidewalk is broken and dropped down where actually there's a tree growing there and the roots have messed up the sidewalk. So, yes, we've been very fortunate. I talked with Rick Henry with the city, and we've got a deal worked out with them that's really in our favor. They're going to take out a portion of that where it's all broken. They're going to go back about 30 feet on each side of where it's broken, and they're going to take all of that concrete out. And they're going to form it back up, and they're going to make it like a little bow. It's going to have it's going to come down, it's going to have like a slight arch in it, and they're going to put that back for us. And we got very fortunate because they said they would do all the work if we would pay for the concrete, which is an extremely good deal. Concrete's not extremely cheap, but they're going to do all the work. So that's really going to be great. Now, to answer your question, I've been talking with the city. I heard different stories of whose responsibility those sidewalks were. Were they KSD's or were they the city's? The city says that it's our responsibility, but if the shape they're in right now, if they get much worse, the city could all of a sudden say, well, we don't think you're taking real good care of it, so we're going to fix that. So I'm talking with Rick to see if we can work something out there also. Yes, I would love for us to be able to take those up, re-smooth that, and put them back down. Where that money's going to come from, I don't know yet. So we've talked about it. I just don't know where we're going to be able to go with it quite yet.
Once we know a cost of that, then we can better plan and we could possibly have a funding source for that. So we have talked about it. I'm like you, Nancy, I would like to see the bricks replaced. We just have to look at kind of the cost benefit of both. My preference is to keep the brick just for the historical value. I'm all about protecting that integrity of that, so.
Nancy's saying, I would rather put the old brick back. I know it's uneven because of the tree roots. And sometimes I walk through there and I actually put the bricks back for KSD just because, I treasure it so much. I find the broken pieces and try to put the puzzle together. But I think it'd be nice to have a new base to it and then put the old brick back on top. Hold on just a second, Barbie. We're going to come to public comments in a minute. Thank you, Ricky, for your information.
We can now take action on the agenda or vote on any items, but I'm going to keep it simple and do a recommendation. Toya, what's the status on the legislature? The legislature day?
I have not gotten any feedback from the department on that.
Okay.
Okay. And next, I was wondering if the commission if the commissioner was going to be coming to our board meeting to kind of talk with us and.
Checked on a date on that this morning, and a date has not been identified yet, but I believe they are looking for a date for this fall. But once I know confirmed, I'll let you know, but I did check on that.
Okay.
Okay, and a recommendation, I would like to know if the commissioner Glass and the chair, if they could come to an ASL immersion and to get full exposure and gain more awareness of deaf world and how we communicate, and maybe KDE employees could join in. Who would provide an ASL immersion? The school or EKU or?
EKU provides it. Unfortunately, the immersion dates this year fell during our summer school. Typically, immersion would follow after 2 weeks of summer school. However, as part of the COVID relief, we're doing 1 month of summer school. So we were not able to hold immersion on campus this year, which I think is the first since pre-COVID. So, yeah, we weren't able to have it last year either. So that's something maybe we can work with Easter and see on if that could be at a different time.
That would be a wonderful opportunity. to include KDE and Commissioner Glass and KBE to participate in ASL immersion. It'd be a good experience for them to just be more aware, and that's my recommendation. My last recommendation is I've been approached by the city of Danville, the city manager actually. He was asking about like the reinvention of downtown Danville, reimagining downtown Danville. And he gave me a proposal. I said, I'm sorry, that's not part of my role. You could contact the management at KSD and KDE and try to set up a committee to participate and get feedback, like the KSD alumni, the museum committee, the foundation committee, and the deaf community, and student involvement, and as well as parents, and explain this school is not a local school, it is a state school. So what that means, we have to include feedback from across the state, parents and the deaf community who graduated from KSD. So they were not aware of that. So I recommend that KSD and KDE just be aware that they may be contacting you, and I just wanted to know everyone to know what's going on. And I told the city, you need to communicate directly with those specific people. And I said, that's not my place. Will you email a copy of that to me? Yes, I will. I'll share that with the people in Frankfurt as well. Should we go ahead and propose the dates of the next meeting, but we can't vote on it? I can suggest dates and do a tentative schedule. August the 9th would be that date. That's our first opening week of school. The staff will be here. It's our first week that we're back. We'll be having the trainings and such.
Maybe you can have it after August 15th. Like the third week in August, or the 4th.
I can't see what you're signing, I'm sorry.
23rd, maybe?
That's okay. August 23rd or 17th, one of those dates? 16th? So 16th or the 23rd? We can find out which is the best date. What do you two prefer? Either one? Either one's fine with me, but we need to find out from the others what's best. I'm going to ask Toya to contact the others, and we'll hold both dates. We'll reserve both dates, and decide. Okay. Set of 30 minutes aside for public comments. Mr. Archie Harris would like to discuss enrollment in post-education graduation? Post. Hello, everyone. I'll be brief. I went to Missouri to visit one of my friends for a 50th wedding anniversary, and I met several alumni from Missouri School for the Deaf, and they were, Missouri's a big state. They have more people than Kentucky, and they're down to 42 students, and we're at around 75. We're getting close to doubling their enrollment. And I was discussing with them, and they were talking about, that's kind of becoming the standard, 50, 60, 70 students around the United States. We're not including like Hawaii, but we're talking about like Wisconsin, Virginia, North Carolina, their enrollment, they're all getting to be around 50 to 60. We should be happy that we do have 75 students. I mean, that's an actual decent number compared to everyone, and that's, because students are being mainstreamed, and, it's a big impact on deaf schools and on deaf education in the U.S. So the other thing I wanted to let you know that we, here at KSD, we should be proud of KSD. We're giving a good education here. A lot of our students, I think we have 3 Gallaudet graduates. I don't know, I'm not supposed to use the name of the students that are at Gallaudet. I guess we have,
We've got one in the master's.
we've got one in the master's program. I was very proud of her. And then Bethany Yance is, she's considering her PhD, and she's decided to go to the University of Kentucky, I don't know if we've ever had any students to get their PhD. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. And I'm not sure what happened with the student, Sarah Joyner. I don't know if she's in college or I'm not looking to cause a riot, but racist, not to be racist, but the black girl, Davis, was the Davis student. She moved from Malaysia.
That's Jemima.
Jemima. You know her? Okay. Okay. I'm proud of her. That's good for her. I mean, I didn't know what had happened to her, but I'm here to tell you, you're doing a good job with our students. Or they're getting into colleges, and they're doing a great job. Students from KSD. I know one boy that should be graduating, but he decided to add another major. So maybe he'll be graduating in December. I'm not sure, but that's all I had to say.
We have one student that was going on to technology, BCTC, and in welding, toured Gallaudet, loved it so much. After he left Gallaudet, he said, when I finish with BCTC, I want to go to Gallaudet, become a teacher, come back to KSD, and teach welding. So, and we have kids at Rochester Technology Institute as well right now. And our kids are rocking it. Thanks for the kudos.
Did also want to let you know that we're seeing, more students go to Gallaudet and get degrees, and that is making me incredibly proud of this school. And that is under your leadership, under, the teachers here, the interpreters. We never want to forget them, but it's people like Jared and Rick and Sarah, everyone that's here. Oh, I forgot your name. Sarah, right. That's good. Good work. The interpreter remembered her name, but... Oh, one more thing. Wait. One more thing. Hold on. Come up here. I also wanted to add, Jemima just told me that she got a job working at EKU in the rec department doing something. So she's a KSD alum. Okay, let me check if we have any emails asking or adding public comments. Have you gotten any emails from the online watchers? No? Okay, so now thank you all for coming. We will see you in August, maybe the 16th or the 23rd. Okay, have a good day.